So one day I decided to ask Reddit guys, what do they consider the most useless base in Planetside? Or the very least 3 most useless ones. Answers I got were partially predictable, but let's take a look. What are the 5 worst bases in the game? But mind you that I took into account their defendability or capturability, and also it's my list, so yours might differ. Anyways, let's get into it. Number 5. As I reviewed all the bases on every continent, I came to the conclusion that there were plenty of bad bases, yet some were worse than others. So, this spot goes for all Biolabs on all continents, and construction sites in Hossen. Honestly, it's been a while since Hossen has been released, and these construction sites are supposed to be placeholders, which is fine. But for one reason or another, I kinda doubt this statement, as there hasn't been a word from devs about this matter. And even as placeholders, they are amazingly terrible. Still, you might ask, why are all the Biolabs lumped in here too? Well, several reasons, biggest of which is that they are a huge third grinder and a huge chokehold on any battle flow. Platoon leaders can agree on this, that taking Biolabs in particular is exercise in futility, so we avoid these like the fire. The fact that they are isolated and in very close quarters makes large population capture a nightmare, since every corner is covered by the same 13-year-old wanker aiming for your sweet ass to pop out. And if you think that Biolabs shouldn't be on this list, I'm sorry, you have failed the basic intelligence test. Oh, and it also was interesting to see that many players cursed Ikonom Biolab in particular, which kinda seemed weird to me, but okay. Number 4. For this spot we have another bunch of bases, but take a look and tell me, what do they all have in common? NS salvage yard, crater firing range, alkali storage, copper ravine, old Araxian mines, valley storage yard, series biotech, my favorite series farms, and list goes on. Did you guess what is common to all of them? That's right, they're next to warp gates. Okay, there are exceptions. 4 Fingers, Indar Bay Point, SPR Nanite Refinery, Fallbridge Chemical, Bridgewater Shipping Yard, Sharpie's Run, Heaven Outpost, North Point Station, and Amory Sharks Reserve. Rest of them are crap. So, okay, yeah, not every base next to Warpgate is crap, but still, majority is. And really there are 2 reasons why these bases are bad. They are never or almost never played in, and they are small and often undefendable. It's also often easy to see how little time has gone into making them. But seriously guys, you know that warp-gating enemy is, well, hard. So most people don't bother to go to next base if it's too far away. And because of this reason, these bases get neglected the most. But as I mentioned, there are those exceptions. They are the good examples. I especially like Amarish Ark's Reserves, as it is a proof of good design, allowing attackers and defenders a good access to the capture point. And it's not too far from the previous base, and plenty far from Warpgate. But what do the other bad cases offer? Well, at best case scenario, nothing. But speaking of bad examples, my favorite here is Series Farms. Although it's as useful as the server it got its name from, there I have filmed many humorous comedy bits like the ones from Idiots of Araxes or Butt Drugs commercial parody and so on. So hey, at least it's good for me. Number 3. Okay, now we get into something juicy. The impact site. Yes, the desolate place of pure misery. This base probably has the longest distance between all 3 points, and because of this very own reason, many consider this to be the most useless. The fact that no one wants to fight in there is proof enough. But it also doesn't help that one of the points, the one in the hill, is so inaccessible that even jump pad to it is hard to find. Honestly, the only way you could make it at least useful would be to have tons of resource crystals for construction systems spawning in there. Then at least it would be important. Now, as much as I've played in this base, if you take the bridge, then you pretty much have one, and that's it. It's truly depressing base to play in. Sure, the very core of it is okay, maybe, but including the bridge and that hill outhouse, this base becomes the huge outhouse itself. And I'm sorry level designers, but this is a shithole. Number 2. Okay, now I did talk about Biolabs being bad, but there is one base that we all hate even more. The pure sewage dump called Subterranean nanite analysis. Even though on the first look the base might seem cool, when you have tons of people coming from Biolab to fight in it, it becomes the definition of pure clusterfuck. The only good thing about it is that as an infiltrator defending this base, I can easily sneak out and farm tons of enemies, or start the never-ending rave party with medic reviving and healing, or shielding my mates. And as an attacker, it's no problem taking the surface part of this base, but once you have done that, getting in is such a hassle that even Biolab capture seems easier. Every time I play there, I feel as if I'm working in retail and attackers are my customers. And the only way I can get rid of them is by shoving something hard up their asses. So yeah, pretty accurate retail simulator. Number 1. So finally we have come to the top spot, and really there is not much to be guessed. It's abandoned NS offices. The most useless base in the whole game. Now I understand there could potentially be worse ones like construction sites, but people play in abandoned offices a lot more, which makes it even worse. This crap shack is so easy to take its swap by opposing forces like a cheap hooker. It's practically undefendable, even if the point is very close to the spawn. Even if enemy has couple of tanks in the hills, ground meat will be your new name. And worst of all, when you capture Howling Pass, most of your teammates will all of a sudden lose their intelligence and food zerg to abandoned NS offices, making it the most retarded attack you have ever seen. It's sad to see that between Mao and Howling Pass you have this pointless base, which only slows down the battle. It doesn't help that attacking Howling Pass from Mao is very hard. You have to first capture that stinking excrement in between. Okay, as a brief aside, I like that Abandoned Offices has this non-generic look and design. At least this base is not put on some platforms and includes the real terrain, making it pretty good on creative part. But that really is the only thing that's going for it. Still, if I ever wanted to stretch me legs and run to some place, it better not be this pointless, useless, mindless, time-wasting, resource-wasting, poor excuse of a base. And there you go, folks. Well, this list was more of a personal one. I bet that some of you can relate. Still, I encourage you guys to put down your list down below. Oh, and keep in mind that in following patches, some of these bases will be changed or removed. So it could come time that this list becomes outdated. But it doesn't matter, we can all learn from these mistakes either way.